Hi, I'm Bukeka. I'm the B.
And I'm Enolia, and I'm the E.
Together, we are Be Empowered.
The universe is calling, calling, calling. The universe is calling me to be. The universe is calling me to love beyond my boundaries. The universe is calling me to be. It's calling me to listen more, talk less, and hold the light. The universe is calling me to be.
We believe that deep in our souls, we hold conversations, but for whatever reasons, we do not always take the opportunity to speak from our hearts.
We want you to imagine that you're sitting right here with us now, sipping a cup of tea or coffee at our dining room table, and we're having that conversation. You know, the one that encourages, inspires, and motivates you to the infinite possibilities that your life has to offer.
Let us help you to expand your imagination, to create your beautiful dream into reality. It starts right here and right now, because the universe is calling you to be.
The universe is calling me to sing into the heavens. The universe is calling me to sing. Oh, to sing like I have never sung in all my given lifetimes. The universe is calling me to sing. The universe is calling, calling, calling. The universe is calling me to be. The universe is calling, calling. The universe is calling me to be. It's calling me.
So welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Enolia. I'm the E.
And this is Bukeka. I am the B. And this is BE
Empowered.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us. And we are going to be talking tonight. The topic is when I get that gut feeling. When I get that gut feeling, I follow my intuition. I trust myself. I understand that something higher is speaking. And it is about fully understanding that when it's coming from within, it is our guidance system. What do you say, Bukeka?
I totally agree, Enolia. It's like we have this inner GPS, right? It's like our God positioning system, always available to give us the direction that we need to go left, to go right. We know that it's always within and that it is allowing us to make the direction of it's source direction, basically, which is what I love. I love that source is guiding us in a direction of hope, of peace, of really peace.
But you know, it's so funny because many people ignore their guidance system. They ignore that gut feeling. And I don't understand why, because I'm going to start it off with like even being a mother. Okay. Being a mother, it was my gut that told me, you know what, my kids weren't up to something. Okay. Or something's not right. Something feels off. And following that, I have been right every single time that I trusted it, that I trusted that feeling. And it always seems to come in the gut, in that place where it's like, oh, something's not right. It's just like something just feels totally off. Have you had that experience?
I have had that experience. And what's interesting for me is that trusting it has been something I've had to really work on. I've had to really work
Okay.
on trusting it. Not knowing exactly what I'm being led to do. And sometimes I will just sit there and just wait for it to pass because I'm not sure. But I've grown immensely through the gut feeling process where I am beginning to trust it a lot more, notice what is happening around me, within me, what conversation did I just have, or what conversation am I getting ready to go into. If I get that gut feeling, to really pay attention to it and simply allow whatever message that needs to come through.
It's like we're calling it the gut feeling, but really it's bottom line, it's your intuition.
Yeah,
Okay. It's that moment when you're at the street light sitting behind your car, and you know that you go left every single day to go to work, and then something's just telling you go right.
yeah,
And you either trust it and you go right, or you go, what am I thinking? No, 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 it's ridiculous. And then you go left, and
right.
then you end up behind traffic, you end up seeing a car accident, you end up, something happens. And you're
Exactly.
like, I should have trusted myself. I should have trusted my gut feeling. I should have turned right. I probably would have avoided the whole thing. And the bottom line is, it's true. You probably would have avoided the whole thing had you trusted yourself.
Yeah,
So I don't know what it is within us that makes us want to doubt what we're feeling inside. And maybe it's routine. We're so accustomed to being in routine. We're like, no, I don't want to break my routine. And I'm here to say that that's no reason to, not trust,
yeah,
not trust that instinct and that intuition.
right, right. And we're trained to believe the things that we can see. We're trained to believe the things that are in front of us that we can see, and what we can hear, those things that are um, tactile instead of, those things that are unseen. We live in that world of seen and unseen, and not trusting the unseen. But it's truly amazing when you do. And in fact, I'll tell you what happened to me just yesterday, right? So I was driving to go get my hair done, and I got a text from the woman that was going to do it saying that she couldn't do it. And I said, well, man, I'm already on my way. So I just kind of diverted, and I made a couple of phone calls, and I was ended up just driving around, right? And but I noticed that I'm like, well, hey, this is kind of fun. I'm just driving around. I'm just being led here to go there, and ended up in a parking lot of a place where I had gotten my hair done before. But I noticed that there was a sign in the window that said, "We've moved." And I go, "Well, gosh, I don't even know where they moved to." So I said, "Well, I'm just going to go ahead and leave." I looked to my right where I would normally go to my right, but then something says, "Go to your left." I go to my left, and there's the new place. So I really
Ah,
had a good time with my gut
yeah.
feeling and intuition yesterday. It panned out really, really well.
Yes, it did. That's great. Oh my goodness. For me, it comes in different waves. Like I'll be in that mall parking lot and I'm like, okay. And something just tells me, oh, go up to the front now. Just go up to the front now. And I move up to the front, and that car is coming right out just at that perfect spot. you know and it's like, yes, where everybody else is pining for that spot, looking
Right.
and looking and looking because there's nothing available. But for me, sometimes it's just a knowing. It's a knowing that something's going to take place. It's going to happen, and then when I trust it, it actually does. It was the other night we were out. It was a scenario where it was an opening. It was an opening for a hotel and resort. I'm just doing a little people watching, and I see two guys, standing at a table eating. And I'm like, oh, okay, nothing special or anything. But I don't know. The one of them was in shorts and one was in pants. And the one that was in shorts, I kept looking at him. I'm like, why am I staring at this guy? And I just made notice, and I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. I'm gonna meet him. And I'm just like, that's ridiculous. Why? How would I meet him? I don't even know. It's a total stranger. So the night progresses on, and about 2 hours later, this beautiful woman comes, sits at our table, introduces herself. And she's a teacher and she's also an attorney, but she teaches women's empowerment. So, of course, I was thrilled to meet her. My fiance starts talking to her first, and then I started talking to her and I found out that, she does women empowerment and she does it locally and she's a lawyer and she already has a group that she works with. And then she goes, "Oh, and I want you to meet my partner." And soon enough, she gets up, she walks across the room, she talks to the guy in the shorts, brings him over to introduce us. And I'm just inside my mind, I'm going, "Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I can't believe this." And it was like, that was it. That's how the intuition kicked in. It was just a knowing,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? And you go, no, that can't be. That was just coincidence, but it's not.
It's not. It's
It's
not.
not coincidence.
Have you ever heard Wayne Dyer talk about coincidence? I heard him say something about the fact that coincidence comes from the word coincide, which is mathematical, right?
Mhm.
So there's nothing coincidental about coincidence. It is designed perfectly for whatever those two things that are coming together at a particular time and space. It is designed in that way. There's nothing coincidental about coincidence. Coinciding is something that is designed to happen. It coincides. It's
Yes.
linked. Yes. And so I love that because you hear people say, "Oh, it was just a coincidence," and they brush it off. They don't really realize, no, that was a moment, a special divine moment made just for you. Made just for you.
Yes. You're exactly right. And it brings me to a story that my niece told me one time. She was going out with a group of friends, right? And she was in the back seat, and it was like two of them in the back, two of them in the front. I guess the male friend of hers who was driving, she started saying, "Slow down," because she said in her mind, she heard something. It was like she heard something say, "Slow down, slow down." And she's like, "You know what, you really need to slow down. I have this feeling, please, please, please slow down." And he's like, "Oh, what's wrong with you?" And he just disregarded her. And then she heard something in her heart say duck, and she literally went down. And sure enough, he hit another car. And by ducking, she did not get the impact of glass. And it was like, holy cow. So again, another story where it saved her life.
Yeah.
Listening to that gut feeling, and she was explaining to me, "I don't know what it was, but I felt it. I heard a voice in my head and it said, slow down." He wouldn't listen to me. And then it just said, duck. And it was like, we could have avoided that whole thing had he just listened to me.
Yeah. She sounds like a woman who really pays attention to that, to pays attention to those voices, because when you don't allow it or you deny it, you get out of sync with that. So she heard it. So she was so in touch with her knowing, that inner knowing, that she could hear it and she paid attention to it. I think what a lot of people do is they just ignore it. And if you hear people say a lot, I knew I should have done that. I knew I should have done that. Well, if you're saying that a lot, then, practice or really get into tune of doing the thing that you thought you should have done. You know what I mean?
You're
And
absolutely right.
yeah,
Yeah, and let's go there, okay? We have this little voice in our head, and we're calling it our intuition. Some people will call it their higher self. It is a part of us. It speaks to us all the time,
yeah,
and we have to learn how to honor that aspect of ourself. It's so important to acknowledge the fact that these things are in place for a reason.
yes,
They're there for a reason. They're our inner guidance system.
yeah,
We need to just honor it first and foremost and acknowledge it.
I agree. I agree. Yeah. I think some
And
people are scared of it, don't you think?
yeah, yeah, which leads me to the next point that you brought up actually when you first started, because you mentioned the fact that it's source. Do you want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, yeah, it's when I was younger, it really it did. It scared me. I'm like, what is this? Where is it coming from? And I think that even in those times when I sat down, I said, okay, what is going on? What do I need to listen for? I was still so afraid of what the answer might be. Maybe it was telling me, you know what, you need to leave that guy. and
Right?
but I didn't pay attention because I was afraid of what that might mean for my existence or for my financial well-being or whatever the case may be, but I would have those thoughts of, well, what is this really telling me? And I think you really do know. There's a part of you that really does know, but you might be afraid to pay attention to it because it is causing you to do something that maybe people are kind of guiding you to say, oh, well, you should stay together. We have all these norms. Marriage is this, and relationship is that, and you've got to try harder, and so forth and so on. So it could have been all of those things that we learn are what we should be quote unquote quote unquote doing. And so instead of following our intuition, we follow the things that we're taught as far as what we should and should not be doing instead.
Let's talk about it too. Let's go there. Let's talk about patterns.
Yeah.
It's even that pattern of every morning I get up and I eat my breakfast and I get in the car and I drive to work. And then all of a sudden you're in such a pattern that it's later on in the day, you're already home from work, you're going back out and you're going to the store and you're in such a habitual motion that you realize that you're driving to work and you're like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I'm supposed to be going to the store.
Right.
And I want to make that akin to not being present. You're just not present. It's like every day you put your shoes on and every day you walk out the door and you don't think twice about your shoes or you don't think twice about your feet because your feet are protected and you figure they're covered. And so you can walk anywhere you want and you're not, walking carefully. You're not thinking about where you're walking. You just walk. We're not present.
Yeah.
Now you take those shoes off, right? And you're walking barefoot and you're looking at every single place that you're walking because one wrong step and you cut your foot or it's uncomfortable underneath your foot because it's not a flat surface. You're just more cognizant of every step that you take.
Yes.
So what is it about the routine that makes us lose ourselves?
Mm.
And what happens is that we lose ourselves in the routine and we're not even seeing life. We're not seeing the beauty around us. We're not seeing the value in the relationships with us that are engaging us. We're not seeing so many things because the habit. The kids are always there. The husband's always there. We always do this. We always do that. And the habit makes you lose that value and that appreciation of one another, of what you're doing, of what you're seeing. The fact that it's a sunny day.
Yeah.
And the breeze is blowing and maybe maybe it's fall time and the leaves are falling, but sometimes those moments when you just stop and feel the breeze and the warmth on your skin and you just watch the leaves blow and you have that moment of clarity and that moment of just valuing the fact that you're in a beautiful place at a beautiful time, and this is just one of those many beautiful moments. And you're not so geared towards the habitual routine or pattern of your life that you notice.
Yeah.
We need to take the shoes off. We need to start looking at where we're walking.
Yes.
And let go of the pattern or break it up.
Yeah.
And know, even though that we're going right every day to go work, maybe deviate and go left and take the long way in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But break up the pattern and wake up, because it literally makes you sleepwalk. You're walking through life. You're asleep. You're not present. You're just going through the motions. So much so that your mind could be somewhere else while you're driving and you look up and you're at your work and you're like, oh, I'm here already. And you're just realizing it is like, it's almost like losing time,
Wow.
which is like really scary because it's like, if you're that not focused and somewhere else, you're not aware of anything that's taking place.
Wow. That was powerful. That's so true. I think about the times when I've done that very same thing. And what it does is that it keeps you from being connected to yourself. Over time, that loss of connection with self does all kinds of havoc, emotionally, physically. You see your body go in a direction that you would prefer it not to go. You just start to think about things in a way that you would prefer it not to go, and that's and you get maybe surprised, like, well, how did this happen? When did this happen? But over time of simply not being present and being disconnected from self is where that began. And once you're there, you either are in a place of feeling stuck and feeling unworthy, feeling even more disconnected because you don't know how you got there. But then there is that opportunity where you can say, whoa, I don't know when this happened, but I got to make a choice. I got to take a different direction. And, there we go again with direction, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that ability to stay connected to what feels good, what feels supportive, what feels um, present, that the more we do that over time, gosh, what would be the opposite? If over time being disconnected has all of this havoc, what could happen if over time staying connected, being present, what future might that hold?
Right. Right. And, this is about us trusting ourselves. And when we trust ourselves, there's like this alignment, like everything falls into place. You walk out the door, you're on your way to somewhere that's really busy, and that parking space shows up exactly when it's supposed to. And you look up and you go, even though I should have had like this crazy, drawn out, harsh day where I'm in lots of lines and couldn't find a parking space and blah, 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 everything fell into place.
Yeah.
Everything fell into place.
Mm-hmm.
And you go, how did this happen? And I call it divine alignment.
Yeah.
It's like trusting your gut, being where you're supposed to be at the right time, at the right place. Everything falls into alignment and you move and you continue and you have a good day. You choose to have a good day and you choose to be present and you choose that it's all going to work out fine versus, oh my God, look at that line. It's going to be a mess. I'm abandoning this. I'm not even going to try.
Right. Right.
You know, it's funny. It's like, even when I referred to that night and I saw the man across the room and I'm like, I'm going to meet him. When it really worked out, we went out just to meet those two people because that was a great contact. It was a great networking moment. And sometimes that's the gut feel that I'm supposed to show up. And then what happens actually takes place for me. And I walk away so happy and so satisfied because what I needed came to fruition because I decided to show up and trust.
Show up and trust. I love that. Show up and trust. That sounds like a song.
Yes. Because, earlier in my life, there's so many times it was like, oh, I'm not going to do that. Oh, I'm not going to do this. And I missed out. I missed out on so much. Now, my heart says, do this, I do it. My gut says, do that, I do it. And I find that everything aligns because I'm trusting. And it happens for a reason. It happens for a reason.
That's awesome. That's awesome. As we come to kind of wrap up things, I've noticed that one thing that keeps me disconnected from trusting and showing up for my good is when I feel like I'm just too busy. If I'm too busy doing this, I'm too busy doing that, then I'm not present. And I hear that so many times from just normal conversation. Hey, can we have oh, I'm so busy. Oh, I'm too busy. Well, show up and trust. Maybe that person reached out to you for a reason, or or maybe you're by not getting centered and not being still to simply say, well, what is this connection for me? What's the possibility here? We could be missing out just on what you had, that experience with the woman that came to you and her partner. If we just find ourselves too busy, then we miss out on opportunities that could really be for our good. And we miss out on those opportunities and thinking that we're too busy by not being present, not trusting or allowing that inner knowing to come through. Wouldn't you say?
You are so right on that. And what a great note to end the show on, because it's like this. And we'll say it to you from our hearts. Slow down. Slow down, because all life is what door opens and what door closes. And if you just pause for a moment and slow down for a moment, you'd realize and you'd see in front of you, oh, this opportunity, and this opportunity actually means that this door is open, this door is open, and this door is open. Which do I choose to walk through? How beautiful is that? But you're right. If you're too busy, you don't see it like that. All you're busy doing is reacting.
True.
So I would leave it at this. Slow down. Be present. See what opportunities the door has or life has presented to you where the door opens. Check your gut. Do a gut check.
Do a gut check, yeah.
Do a gut check. And if it feels good, walk through that open door and see what life has to bring.
Wow.
You can't go wrong.
You can't go wrong. I love it. Wow. Well, this has been an amazing topic. I'm sure that so many people appreciate this information. There's going to be a lot of slowing down in the next few minutes. I feel that coming on, that things are going to slow down just a little bit, which is great. And we can stop and smell the roses and be more present to the beauty that we are.
Yes, we can. And on that note, this is Enolia, and we hope that you enjoyed today's topic. So have a beautiful, beautiful rest of day or evening, wherever you are in the world.
And this is Bukeka, and blessings to everyone. Yes, wherever you are in the world, be happy and trust your gut.
Be empowered.
Be empowered.
We hope you enjoyed the show. We look forward to bringing you more shows in the future. To learn more about our co-hosts, check out their websites, www.bukekastyle.com and www.enolia.live. Learn about their masterclasses for conscious transformation, their personal coaching, along with their international retreats and expeditions. Are you an entrepreneur looking for another line of income? Check out www.planetmarketing.com/Enolia and www.planetmarketing.com/bblakemore. We are here to transform your life. Thank you for listening.